My best friend had been a homemaker for 10 years, only to be abandoned in the blink of an eye. I helped her fight her divorce case, helped her fight for the house, and helped her find a job, but behind my back, she seduced my husband and caused my death. From then on, she slept in my bed, spent my money, and beat my child. After being reborn, looking at my best friend, who was crying and saying she was about to be divorced, I said lightly, "What a coincidence, my husband is about to be divorced too. Why don't you two make do with each other?" When I was attacked, my best friend was right beside me. She was so frightened she was nearly out of her mind, her whole body going limp as she collapsed to the floor, and the killer was her husband. The man reeked of alcohol, and as soon as he burst in, he stabbed a knife into my stomach. "I'm hitting my own woman, what's it to you, and you dare talk to me about the law, trash." I crashed heavily to the ground, my abdomen torn open with a huge hole, and blood pooled beneath my body into a bloody puddle. From the blood loss, I began to feel cold all over, but the man did not stop. His eyes were bloodshot, and like a madman he stabbed me viciously 7 or 8 more times until the flesh was torn to pieces. I struggled desperately, but it was still to no avail. "Help me." I collapsed on the ground, barely clinging to life, and with my last ounce of strength, reached out to grab my best friend's hem. "Call the police, help me," but Zhang Yan kept desperately dodging away. She cowered against the wall, in tears and utterly terrified, sobbing and crying out, "Husband, stop," yet she never once stepped forward to stop it or picked up her phone to call the police. She just stood there and watched helplessly as her husband stabbed me to death, one knife after another. Too, I am a lawyer. Before that, it was Zhang Yan who came to me on her own to cry about her troubles. She said that her husband beat her whenever he drank, and he was also fooling around with other women outside. She said she simply could not go on living like this. At that time Zhang Yan knelt on the ground, crying as she begged me. "He said he can agree to a divorce, but only if I leave with nothing. What am I supposed to do?" I got very angry when I heard it. Yeah, we're both women, and Zhang Yan and I have been friends for so many years. How could I just stand by and watch her suffer like that? I'm a lawyer myself, so I immediately took on her divorce case and personally helped her fight for the property for safety's sake. I even brought her to stay at my own place temporarily. Today, her husband came to our door. Her husband said he wanted to talk to us. I felt there was nothing to say to him, so I shut him out and didn't want to let him in, but Zhang Yan secretly opened the door and let him in. Her husband had come drunk. The man, his eyes bloodshot and reeking of alcohol, came in holding a knife. He lunged at me, grabbed me, and drove the blade viciously into my body. "So you're the one who talked my wife into divorcing me, huh?" By the time Li was sobered up, I was already lying in a pool of blood, gravely wounded, and it was clear I wasn't going to make it. Li was covered in blood, like a vengeful ghost, but by the time he belatedly realized what he had done, fear had suddenly taken hold of him again. He came to his senses at that moment. He dropped to his knees before Zhang Yan with a thud. I didn't mean it. Yenner, you have to help me. You're my wife, we're family." Li was panicked and at a loss. He forcibly grabbed Zhang Yan in a tight embrace. "I can't go to prison." Zhang Yan was trembling all over, crying as she beat on him, but what she said was utterly despairing. "Yihua, why you killed someone? What are we going to do? This is a big deal. Run, hurry, and run. Yihua, you have to get away." Her words jolted Li into awareness. Li gritted his teeth and simply started searching through my house, finding some cash. He stuffed it all into his pockets, then pushed the door open and ran out. Before leaving, Zhang Yan stopped him. She broke the necklace around my neck and handed it to him. She cried and said, "Honey, hurry and run. You can't let anyone catch you." 3. I died in extreme agony, and in my heart, there was immense unwillingness and resentment because, from beginning to end, I did nothing wrong. To my friends, I went above and beyond, fulfilling all moral obligations, yet I never imagined that it was precisely because of a friend that I met such a fatal disaster. Even after my death, my good friend never even considered avenging me. Instead, they helped the murderer who killed me escape. "Why didn't you save me?" "I clearly ended up like this because I was trying to help you." What I didn't expect even more was, after Li escaped, Zhang Yan crouched in the corner of the wall and slowly calmed her trembling body. Instead, an excited smile appeared on her face. She didn't call the police, nor did she call 120 for me. Instead, she made a phone call. After the call connected, she heard the other person's voice. Zhang Yan's originally fearful expression turned into delight. "Wang Yu, you're right. Li really did take action and kill Xiao Xiao." While on the phone, she said excitedly, "We can finally be together openly from now on." I lay on the ground, my life hanging by a thread at the final moment of life. I unexpectedly heard such shocking news because Wang Yu is my husband. Zhang Yan had actually been secretly involved with him behind my back. One was my husband, and the other was my best friend of 10 years behind my back. They had already been sleeping together, even plotting and working together to kill me. How could you do this to me? But my life force was draining away from me at a terrifying speed. I was too badly hurt, lying on the ground, barely able to move even a finger. As Zhang Yan's face went pale, the look of fear slowly faded from her face. I don't know what Wang Yu said on the phone. She huddled in the corner with the phone in her hand, and a flush of crimson suddenly appeared on her pale face. She said coquettishly, and another thing, you nearly scared me to death. You're the smart one, coming up with this idea. Still, Xiaoxiao is a lawyer, and if you really want to divorce her, it won't be easy. There's no way the assets can be kept. I'll call the police right now. Love you, hee. Hung up the phone. Zhang Yan looked at me again. Just before I died, my best friend Zhang Yan smiled and said to me, thanks, Xiaoxiao. Even in death, you're still making a contribution to me. I fell into a pool of blood, staring at her with wide eyes, dying with eyes wide open for pain. It really hurts. It felt as if my internal organs were on fire, and as if countless blades were spinning inside me. I was in such agony. I tossed and turned so violently that I even rolled right off the bed and crashed heavily onto the floor. I suddenly opened my eyes, covered in a cold sweat. Just then, my phone rang. Still dazed, and with my mind a blank, I instinctively answered the call, and Zhang Yan's tearful voice came through at once. Xiaoxiao, come save me quickly. Li Hua is going to hit me again. He lost money gambling. When he came back, he wanted to sell my gold jewelry. That voice pulled me back to reality. Unsettled, I looked at my unharmed self and the familiar furnishings around me. I'm not dead. I even relived until 3 months ago. At that time, it was exactly when Zhang Yan was going through a divorce with her husband. Zhang Yan often called me to pour out her troubles. She cried and sobbed, unable to speak through her tears, saying that her husband Li Hua was idle all day and had recently become obsessed with gambling at shady places, but he always lost money, so Li Hua's temper became irritable and unpredictable. He would come home, beat and scold her, venting his anger on her, and even force her to borrow money through online loans for him to go out and gamble. In the past, I would get very angry hearing this. I also earnestly advised her to cut her losses in time, not to waste her whole life on such a person. On the surface, Zhang Yan seemed to listen to my advice, but behind my back, she dismissed it completely. She even sent Li Hua the chat logs of me advising her to get a divorce, telling him that I was always egging them on to divorce. Li Hua had not had much contact with me to begin with. After all this, he became full of hostility toward me. At first, I didn't even know about any of this. It was another friend who couldn't stand it anymore and stepped in to persuade me not to keep getting involved in Zhang Yan and her husband's affairs. I meant well for Zhang Yan, and I was thinking of her with all my heart. I never imagined I'd end up being the bad guy in everyone's eyes. A second chance at life. I've also seen Zhang Yan for who she really is. I treated her as a friend, but she treated me like a fool. Now, seeing Zhang Yan about to start crying to me again, it's simply endless. I made a quick decision. Zhang Yan, I have a meeting coming up, so I can't talk anymore. Then I immediately hung up her call. Zhang Yan didn't expect me to do that. She was still stunned, so when she finally came to her senses, she frantically sent me message after message on WeChat, accusing me of being cold and heartless. I didn't have time to bother with her. There was only one question in my mind: when exactly did my husband, Wang Yu, get involved with him? 5. When Wang Yu and I got married, we were really poor. After all these years of struggling and working hard together, we finally made it through the hard times as a poor couple. But now he cheated on me during our marriage and got together with my best friend and even plotted to kill me. Yes, our car, house, and savings are all marital property. He wanted a divorce from me, but couldn't bear to give up the money, so he planned to take my life. How can there be such a heartless person in the world? I sat on the sofa, feeling a wave of chill run through my whole body. When I looked up again at the wedding photo hanging in the living room, it felt utterly ironic. Before I could even calm my emotions, Wang Yu's call came through. As soon as I answered, he immediately snapped at me. Why didn't you answer Zhang Yan's call? Didn't you take the day off today? What meeting do you have to attend? He accused me. Her husband treats her badly. You know that, don't you? What kind of friend are you to do this? I said nothing, but my heart sank halfway. Clearly I'm his wife, yet he called me to question me because of another woman. A classic case of siding with outsiders. I sneered and said, that's someone else's family matter. Why are we rushing to meddle? If you really want to get involved, then let's divorce. You can marry Zhang Yan, then you can treat her well from now on, and you won't have to worry so much. Wang Yu was at a loss for words after hearing that. Embarrassed and angry, he turned around and scolded me instead. You're such good friends, so why are you being so petty? She has a hard life. Is it wrong to care about her a little more? You think everyone is as heartless as you are. I rolled my eyes and hung up on him right away. This almost pissed Won Yu off to death. He frantically called me several more times, and I ignored every single one. In the end, getting annoyed, I directly blocked his number. Looking at the many missed calls displayed on my phone, I let out one cold laugh after another, hatred and anger surging in my heart. What a wonderful husband I have. He hooked up with my best friend behind my back, and now, for Zhang Yan, he's practically frantic, jumping up and down in desperation. There's no way I can keep living like this. I don't care whether Zhang Yan gets divorced, but this marriage of mine has absolutely reached its end. Starting over is a blessing from heaven. I must protect myself, and I must also get revenge on this trashy man and woman. Thinking of this, I thought again about how I died in my previous life. After some thought, I picked up the phone and called Won Yu's mother. Mom, I heard you haven't been feeling well lately, is that right? I'll make an appointment for a checkup at the hospital. Why don't you come stay with us for a couple of days? Let Won Yu show you a good time too. 6. Won Yu is a filial son. He grew up without a father. His mother single-handedly raised him. That's why he is extremely devoted to his mother and caters to her every wish. I was quick. Mrs. Wang had no idea what had happened between us. She had just happily agreed, and hadn't even finished packing yet. Before she could turn around, I had already driven over in person and picked her up home directly. So by the time Won Yu got off work, he came home in a rage, ready to settle accounts with me. As soon as he opened the door, he saw his mother and me sitting on the sofa in the living room. His expression changed. Mom, what are you doing here? Upon hearing this, Mother Wang was a bit displeased. Why can't I come? A while ago, I strained my back, and you, as my son, didn't even think to take me to the hospital. It was Xiao Xiao who drove me over directly, saying she wanted to take me for a thorough checkup. Wang Yu hemmed and hawed, unwilling to come inside, but my eyes were sharp, and I had already spotted the woman hiding behind him. It was Zhang Yan. It seems that after I hung up on her, she immediately went straight to Wang Yu to cry and complain. It's off work now. Wang Yu must have promised her that he would come back and give me a good scolding, so Zhang Yan couldn't wait. She even rushed straight to my home with him, demanding an explanation from me. How ridiculous. This is my husband and my good friend. My heart is filled with hatred. Mrs. Wang also saw Zhang Yan, who was standing timidly behind Wang Yu. She asked rather unhappily, Son, who is this? Seeing that his own mother was asking the question, Wang Yu could only say, Mom, this is Xiao Xiao's good friend, Zhang Yan, a friend of Xiao Xiao's. How come she's with you? Mrs. Wang frowned. What are you two doing coming back together? At the right moment, I immediately chimed in. Mom, I don't know either. How strange, I asked her in a slow, measured tone. Zhang Yan, I didn't invite you to my home either. What were you looking for my husband for? Zhang Yan's face turned red in an instant. Wang Yu defended Zhang Yan. It's just that she couldn't get in touch with you, so she came to me. What did she need you for? Since when have the two of you been so close? I cut in. How come I didn't know that? Wang Yu fell silent. He had no way to explain it and immediately shut his mouth. Seeing that no one said a word, Zhang Yan was anxious, embarrassed, and angry all at once, and I wasn't planning to let her off the hook either. I deliberately said loudly, I don't know what you came here for either. Forget it, Zhang Yan, go back. My mother-in-law is at my house, so it's not convenient to keep guests. I won't have you stay for dinner. Okay, you should go. Zhang Yan looked at me in disbelief. She knew Wang Yu was filial to his mother, but I had always been very nice to her and had never embarrassed her like this before, so she naturally felt justified in thinking that I would definitely not just stand by and watch her be this awkward. She never expected that the moment I spoke, I was already telling her to leave. At that moment, her eyes quickly turned red, and she looked very fragile, the kind of sight that made people feel sorry for her. Xiao Xiao, I'm not here to disturb you on purpose, it's just that I can't stay at home anymore. With tears in her eyes, she said, you know what kind of man mine is. I raised an eyebrow and cut her off bluntly. Zhang Yan, don't wash your dirty linen in public. Back then, you were the one crying and insisting on marrying Li Yihua. Zhang Yan was silenced. She panicked, choking up at once. I was blind back then and got tricked into marrying him. It wasn't me. But you're not planning to divorce him now either, so what are you crying for? I interrupted her sob story and said with a smile, I've been persuading you for a year or two already. Why don't you two just get divorced? But you wouldn't agree. You even told Li Yihua about this, and Li Yihua came straight over to warn me not to stick my nose into other people's business. I said considerately, Zhang Yan, I don't dare get involved in your affairs anymore. You two should just live happily together. Hearing this, Wang Yu's expression changed. Although he hid it very well, but he still couldn't hold back and asked, his voice changing too, you don't want to divorce him, This frightened Zhang Yan. She was almost in tears from anxiety. No, that's not it. I want to divorce him, as you all know. I just can't go on living like this anymore. Upon hearing these words, I just smiled and said nothing, watching Zhang Yan leave in tears. Wang Yu escorted her downstairs calmly. I picked up the phone that had been recording audio and video in the living room and sent this video clip to Zhang Yan's husband, Li Hua. After some thought, I thoughtfully added an explanation. I didn't know the full story before when I advised you two to divorce, so please don't hold it against me. You should know. All of this was Zhang Yan who took the initiative to come and plead with me. I said hypocritically, it's inevitable for a couple to have some quarrels and arguments in their daily life. You should try to persuade her properly. 7. The effect of this video was quite good, producing immediate results. For the next several days I didn't see Zhang Yan, but after 4 or 5 days, Zhang Yan really couldn't stand it anymore. She came to my house again to pour out her grievances. Xiao, I can't go on living like this for another day. You don't know. Li Yihua is just a beast. Zhang Yan burst into tears. This also made it clear to us that her face was covered in bluish-purple bruises, and her arms were beaten all over with scars. It seemed that Li Yihua had indeed been ruthless. I was very satisfied seeing me drinking coffee, looking completely unconcerned. Zhang Yan was furious. It's all your fault. She looked twisted with fury, yelling at me in exasperation. What on earth did you say to Li Yihua? He nearly beat me to death. Wu Xiao. What have I ever done to you that you treat me like this? She's done me so many wrongs, and now she's saying things like that. Seeing how self-righteous she looked, I found it utterly ridiculous, but I still put on a concerned expression. That's not it. I just want the two of you to live well. We've been friends for so many years. Don't you trust me yet? Exactly. I remember in my previous life, Li Yihua hated me because Zhang Yan stirred things up in the middle, making him think I was the one who urged his wife to file for divorce. For this, he even threatened me, telling me to mind my own business. But in that past life, I genuinely had Zhang Yan's best interests at heart. It was clear that Li Yihua was that kind of person, not only a compulsive gambler with debts, but also a complete jerk. Not only did I ignore his threats, I even had someone throw him out. This ultimately brought a fatal disaster upon me, but this time, I directly sent him the audio and video recordings of Zhang Yan's tearful complaints, which also served to clear my name and let him see Zhang Yan's true feelings. As expected, Li Yihua is a person of low quality, with a bad temper and a chauvinistic attitude. After watching the video, he was furious and immediately shifted his hatred from me to Zhang Yan. This time Zhang Yan was really beaten quite badly. Just as Wang Yu came out of the restroom, Zhang Yan saw him as if he were a savior. Her eyes lit up, and she immediately began to sob. You have no idea what I've been through at home these past few days. It's been an inhuman existence, she cried so pitifully, looking utterly heartbroken and endearing. Please, Xiao, just let me stay at your place for a while, to hide out for a bit. Seeing her like this, Wang Yu felt very distressed and quickly grabbed some tissues to wipe her tears. Of course not. I cut her off directly. Zhang Yan, you can't stay at our house. Hearing me say this, Zhang Yan grew anxious, even forgetting to cry. She said in a sharp voice, Wu Xiao, we've been friends for so many years. I'm in such a miserable state now. Can't you show me a little pity? Wang Yu also frowned, looking at me with great disappointment as if I were the one being unreasonable, but I put on a very troubled expression. My mother-in-law sprained her waist last month and now has to go to the hospital for chemotherapy every day. She'll be staying with us for a while. There's no extra room in the house for you to stay. Only then did Wang Yu remember his mother. Instantly, his expression became unnatural. This reason left one speechless. Zhang Yan was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan at that moment. She even ignored my presence, grabbed Wang Yu's arm, and pleaded tearfully. During this time, Li Yihua has been acting like a madman, taking out his frustrations on me at the slightest inconvenience. I truly have nowhere else to turn, which is why I came to beg you. Noticing that my gaze fell on their clasped hands, Wang Yu hurriedly shook off Zhang Yan. Don't worry. I pretended not to see their little exchange and instead kept urging her. Maybe your husband has just been in a bad mood these past few days. Besides, you're still married to him. Where can you possibly run away to? Zhang Yan hadn't expected me to say something like that, because up until then, I had always been one to encourage breakups, not reconciliations. She looked at me in disbelief. Xiao, how can you speak up for him? I'm the one who's your best friend. I sneered inwardly. Zhang Yan, so you still know you're my best friend, but on the surface, I also looked troubled. But you haven't divorced either. We're just outsiders. Besides, Li Yihua was your own choice. Back then, When your parents didn't agree to the marriage, you were the one crying and insisting that it had to be him. This statement directly exposed Zhang Yan's true nature. Her face flushed and paled alternately. I comforted her. Maybe you should go back and apologize to Li Yihua. I don't think he's a petty person. Zhang Yan pursed her lips and remained silent. Yet there was nothing wrong with my words. Even Wang Yu couldn't speak up for her. After all, they are the married couple. After a moment of silence, Zhang Yan gritted her teeth and said, "What if I want a divorce from him? Xiao, you've been my friend for so many years. You can't not help me. You can't just watch me die." Upon hearing these words, I laughed. "Of course I'll help you," I said, word by word. "After all, you are my best friend." 9. Zhang Yan still didn't manage to move into my house because I had to take Auntie Wan to the hospital for physical therapy. She really had no excuse to stay. "Come find me at my workplace tomorrow," I said to her. "Since we're friends, I'll just send you a divorce agreement template directly, and I won't charge you for it." Hearing this, Zhang Yan was simply incredulous. Even as she was leaving my house, she couldn't believe that I had dismissed her so easily with just a couple of sentences based on her understanding of my personality given. How pitiful she was. I should have been outraged, let her stay at my place right then, and stood up for her. How could I handle it so officially? But seeing my sincere attitude and my flawless reasoning, Zhang Yan couldn't say anything either. But just when I was taking Aunt Wan to the hospital for physiotherapy, Wang Yu answered a phone call in the corridor. He suddenly told me that there was an urgent matter at his company that needed handling, and he had to leave first. Seeing his unnatural expression, I sneered inwardly. What urgent matter at the company? It was him being in a hurry to settle Zhang Yan properly. I watched coldly as Wang Yu hurried out to play the hero and rescue the damsel in distress. Having been friends for many years, I knew that Zhang Yan would absolutely not go home, but she had no money on her. She couldn't come to my house now, and had nowhere to stay outside. She would definitely cling to Wang Yu and not let go, and Wang Yu's company had an agreement with a hotel allowing for discounted stays. Having been husband and wife for many years, I knew that Wang Yu would definitely take her there. So, about half an hour later, I directly called the front desk of Wang Yu's company. The receptionist girl recognized me. She readily told me that Wang Yu had indeed just come to the company and asked her to book a room under the company's name. The hospital lobby was bustling with noise. People were coming and going. Having gotten the answer I wanted, I hung up the phone, clenched my cell phone, and sat expressionlessly in the chair. At this moment, Wang Yu and Zhang Yan had already arrived at the hotel. They were all adults, a man and a woman, an empty room and a lonely bed. What else could they possibly do? Even though I had already died once, and I had long known that Wang Yu had betrayed our marriage, I still held no expectations for them in my heart. But at this very moment, I couldn't help but feel heartbroken. One was my best friend of 10 years, the other was my husband of many years. They both chose to betray me at the same time. The unfaithful ones deserve to swallow 10,000 needles. I will never let them off the hook. I won't let these two have an easy time. 10. Everything went exactly as I had anticipated. Early the next morning, Zhang Yan rushed into my office. The purplish bruises on her face hadn't fully faded, but they couldn't hide the triumphant gleam in her eyes and the smugness at the corners of her brows. Wang Yu came back very late last night. He even made the excuse that he didn't want to disturb my rest and slept on the sofa himself. He probably spent the whole afternoon having a wild time with Zhang Yan at the hotel. I sneered inwardly, one cold laugh after another, but on the surface, I didn't show a trace of it. Getting a divorce isn't easy these days. I asked her, "Did you tell Li Yihua about this?" Zhang Yan said dismissively, "If I could talk to him properly about the divorce, would I still need to come to you?" He brought up divorce before during an argument too, but he wanted me to leave with nothing. At that point, Zhang Yan herself said indignantly, "I've been married to him for so many years, I should at least get half of his house." I said nothing and just smiled. Li Yihua is a local native, although he's a bit of an asshole. His family does have a genuine local house worth more than 3 million yuan. Zhang Yan sure has a big appetite. Seeing that I wasn't reacting much, Zhang Yan got anxious. She quickly softened her tone again. Xiao, you're my best friend, you'll definitely help me, right?" I said, "Of course, but you haven't worked since you got married and have been unemployed at home. If you're really dead set on getting his house, I'm afraid it won't be easy to pull off." However, I deliberately drew out my words. "It's not entirely impossible." Zhang Yan's eyes lit up. "If you can persuade Li Yihua to sell the house and then buy another one with you, then it will count as marital property. When it comes to divorce, this school district house can then be claimed for an equal split," I said unhurriedly, "but whether he agrees or not depends on your own ability." At that, Zhang Yan herself hesitated. Instead, it was obvious she was unwilling to go home. After all, Li Hua was truly vicious when he hit people, but she was also unwilling to give up the property within easy reach. Seeing her waver, her face was full of tangled conflict and struggle. I smiled slightly and coaxed gently, I'm suggesting this as a friend. Go and have a proper talk with him. His current house is in the old town, right? The living environment is quite good, but it's not in a school district. If you two were to have a child, how could I possibly have a child with him? Hearing this, Zhang Yan grew anxious. If we have a child, how could we still get divorced? I looked troubled. But if you don't have a child, how can you persuade him to move to a house in a school district? That made some sense. Zhang Yan immediately became conflicted. This is the only way for now. I spread my hands and said, I'm just giving you this advice as a friend. After all, this is the situation, and this is the only way. Zhang Yan remained silent, but she didn't give a specific agreement either. Her brows were tightly furrowed, clearly still very agitated inside, seriously considering the feasibility of this plan. After that, whatever was said, she was absent-minded. After that, we just exchanged some casual, unimportant talk, and then she went back. She didn't even eat lunch. Watching her figure recede into the distance, I smiled faintly because I knew she wasn't as conflicted as she appeared to be at that moment. In reality, Zhang Yan had already made up her mind and was prepared to go through with it, to fight for the assets. That's just the kind of person she is, utterly self-serving, devoid of any sense of shame. At the critical juncture of the divorce, I had 100 different ways and means to help her protect her own interests, but I wouldn't help her. The memory of how I was killed in my previous life remains vivid in my mind. This time I will watch as they bring disaster upon themselves. Yes, I gave Zhang Yan advice, pointing her toward the path with the greatest risk and crisis, and this was meticulously designed by me for them. I am waiting for them to seek their own destruction. The inherent evil of human nature ensures that some will walk into the abyss on their own. 11. Ever since she finished talking with me, Zhang Yan immediately went home, took the initiative to show goodwill to Li Hua, and resumed their sweet married life. She thought it through clearly. While affectionately clinging to Li Hua and calling him dear husband, she was secretly planning to get half the house in a divorce. The two attitudes were completely opposite before and after. It made me somewhat admire Zhang Yan. She really does have quite a way with men. Not long after, Li Hua actually called me. Ever since last time, after I sent him the video I recorded of Zhang Yan's tearful complaint, his attitude toward me has been quite amicable. He doesn't hate me anymore. This time, he still needed a favor from me, so his attitude was even more polite. Li Hua said he wanted me to introduce him to a reliable real estate agent. I pretended not to know the inside story and asked him with a smile, Brotherly is planning to change houses already. Isn't your current 3-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment comfortable to live in? Li Hua really is a scoundrel at this moment. He was surprisingly reliable for once. He coughed and said, I'm just preparing for the unexpected. Who knows, I might become a father next year. This marked the beginning of their pregnancy preparations. I understood the situation clearly. I had no idea what kind of tricks Zhang Yan had used on Li Hua. Li Hua no longer resorted to physical violence against her, nor did he take his anger out on her anymore, even when it came to buying a house. After some consideration, Li Hua readily agreed. Zhang Yan's life had improved significantly. Her complexion even started to look better as a result. Some friends privately sighed, saying that Zhang Yan's good days had finally arrived. A prodigal son's return is more precious than gold, but contrary to them, my relationship with Wang Yu grew increasingly worse. Finally, one time, under my deliberate coldness and intentional quarreling, we completely tore off all pretense. 12. That day, Wang Yu came home very late. He didn't seem to be in a good mood. As soon as he came back, he reached out to hug me. Honey, you've worked hard taking care of my mom these past few days. I subtly avoided his hand. Your friend Zhang Yan is really pitiful. I heard Li Hua went out gambling again. Wang Yu, thinking I didn't know about his affairs, shamelessly played the role of a loving husband and intimate partner. He suddenly forced a hug on me, leaned close to my ear, and said, such a good girl, yet she ended up with a man like that. What a waste. Hearing such words, I only felt disgusted. If I didn't know he was involved with Zhang Yan, I might have been deeply moved, thinking I had married a man with upright morals. But looking back now, I just find it incredibly ironic. Suppressing the anger and resentment in my heart, I said calmly, I talked to her earlier. She couldn't bear to end the marriage, so I advised her to reconcile with Li Hua. Wang Yu froze instantly. How did you advise her? Wang Yu instinctively raised his voice, shouting at me. She already said she wanted a divorce. You're supposed to be good friends. How could you advise her to reconcile? Right, good friends. So good that she sleeps with her friend's husband. Holding back the surging malice in my heart, I just said calmly, it's better to demolish 10 temples than to break up a marriage. Her husband is quite reasonable. He even said he'd treat me to a meal, but from what you're saying, it sounds like you're actually hoping for her to get divorced. Hearing me say this, Won Yu reacted like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He said angrily, "Are you doubting me? What could I possibly doubt you about?" I said innocently, "You don't know yet, do you? Not only have they reconciled, but they're also planning to have a child." Upon hearing this topic, Won Yu grew even more furious. The issue of having a child has always been a source of worry for both of us due to my busy work schedule. Several attempts to conceive have failed, but I was unwilling to quit my job and stay home just to have a baby, so we remained at a standoff. He immediately vented his anger on me. "Zhang Yan is such a good woman, she's willing to have a child even with a husband like that. And what about you? After all these years of marriage, there's not even a hint of movement in your belly. Are you a chicken that doesn't lay eggs?" I retorted indifferently. "I have no intention of having a child, it's not in my plans right now. If you want a child so badly, go find someone else to have one for you." Those words completely infuriated Won Yu. He slammed the door and stormed out in anger. I didn't care at all because everything was part of my plan. I took advantage of the opportunity to move straight into the office and live there, rarely going home, but no one knew. Before moving out, I had installed 3 hidden surveillance cameras at home, and I poked holes in all the condoms in the bedside table. 13. Won Yu had no idea what I had done. My cold words and icy remarks were utterly devastating to a proud man like Won Yu. He really couldn't swallow this humiliation. To retaliate against my indifference, Won Yu simply let himself go. He sent his mother away and then began openly dating Zhang Yan at home. This apartment was the wedding home we got when we first married. Won Yu brazenly rolled around and tangled with Zhang Yan on our marital bed, just like that, but he didn't know that all his actions had been recorded by the camera, allowing me to watch remotely. Seeing him like this made me even more furious. I simply took advantage of when no one was home, went back, packed up all my things, and moved out directly. This was essentially showing my hand. Won Yu returned home to find all my things gone. He called me in a furious rage. "What do you mean by this? Are you seeing someone else? You've been planning this day for a long time, haven't you?" Hearing him actually have the nerve to question me like that, I was so angry I laughed. He's the one who betrayed our marriage, yet he still has the face to say such things. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him any further. I said coldly, "Won Yu, a man like you is not worth my time. Let's get ready and go through the divorce procedures." 14. After so many years of marriage to Won Yu, we have many mutual friends. Seeing the state of our relationship deteriorate like this, these friends have been organizing various gatherings, hoping to mend the relationship between Won Yu and me, but I would not agree. Therefore, through my deliberate provocation, many friends have personally witnessed the scenes of Won Yu and me arguing and fighting. Once Won Yu gets angry, he loses control of his words. More than once, in public and in front of many people, he has uncontrollably yelled at me, "A good wife is like Zhang Yan. You're not even worthy of a single finger of Zhang Yan's." The surroundings fell dead silent because that statement was simply too excessive. After all, Zhang Yan is someone else's wife, while Won Yu and I are the legally married couple. How could he say such a thing? But Won Yu was in the heat of anger and couldn't care less about that. The more you say, the more mistakes you make, the more you do, the more errors you commit. Everyone present is no fool. Many friends had already keenly sensed the unusual undertone in this situation. With my deliberate efforts to stir things up, these words quickly reached Li Hua's ears. 15. These words were indeed spoken in a very inappropriate manner. Li Hua was half convinced and half doubtful. Coincidentally, at this time, Zhang Yan had found a new house, and they were preparing to sell their current one to raise money for the purchase. Seizing this opportunity, Li Hua invited me to a meal, intending to probe into the matter between me and Won Yu. Hearing him ask this, a flicker of panic crossed Zhang Yan's face. At the dinner table, with many friends present, everyone was all ears, listening to what I had to say, and I just said calmly, "Without fate, even if you get married, you won't make it to the end. I think our breakup should be happening sometime soon." The friends were all very awkward. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to say. I joked, "Being together is entirely voluntary. If it doesn't work out, just part ways. Let's avoid the scandal of a green hat." Hearing me say this, Zhang Yan's face went even paler. To hide how abnormal she looked, she quickly lowered her head to eat, hastily picking up a chopstick full of fish. But as soon as the fish entered her mouth, she suddenly couldn't control herself and retched, "What's wrong?" Before we could react, Zhang Yan was already covering her mouth as she stood up and rushed into the bathroom. Then came a heart-wrenching sound of vomiting. Everyone was utterly baffled, not knowing what had happened, and I picked up my glass and said with a smile to Li Hua, "Brother Li, congratulations. Last time you said you might well be a father by next year, and now she's already pregnant. Looks like you too really were pretty quick. Li Hua perked up when he heard that. That's right, isn't this exactly what pregnancy looks like? Overjoyed, Li Hua couldn't even spare us another thought and immediately rushed out of the restaurant, searching the streets for a pharmacy to buy a pregnancy test. It was precisely because he wasn't there he didn't see that when Zhang Yan came out of the bathroom after vomiting, her face was deathly pale, and she looked extremely frightened. 16 Zhang Yan wasn't a fool either. She knew very well in her heart that she didn't want to spend another day with Li Hua in her current marriage, but she couldn't bear to part with his property. Zhang Yan wasn't willing to exit the marriage empty-handed, getting nothing out of it. But if we went with my plan, she'd end up pregnant again. How could she get a divorce if she had a child? Everything would become so much more complicated. But Zhang Yan was clever. She quickly figured it out. On one hand, she sweet-talked and coaxed Li Hua, urging him to sell their current property and buy a school district apartment. On the other, she pretended to be preparing for pregnancy. On the other hand, when Zhang Yan was intimate with Li Hua, she secretly took thorough contraceptive measures to avoid any accidents. She had no intention of getting pregnant. She had long grown tired of living like this, but that's just how things are in this world. Often, the more a person fears something, the more likely it is to happen. Even though all precautions had been taken, why was there still movement in her belly? Seeing Li Hua buy a pregnancy test on the spot, Zhang Yan was forced with no other choice but to take the test right there in the bathroom, and the result was as solid as a nail in a board. Looking at the 2 lines on the pregnancy test, Zhang Yan felt her whole world crumbling. She suddenly realized something terrifying. She could guarantee that when she was with Li Hua, everything was absolutely foolproof, but when she was with others, these precautionary measures weren't taken as seriously. That is to say, the father of the child in her belly now is thinking of this. Zhang Yan subconsciously looked toward Wang Yu. 17 Wang Yu didn't notice her gaze. He was just immersed in anger, focused only on arguing with me. But I noticed. I saw the look in Zhang Yan's eyes, full of fear yet tinged with a hint of longing. At that moment, I smiled and raised my glass to congratulate her. Zhang Yan, congratulations on becoming a mother. Upon hearing my blessing, Zhang Yan's face turned even paler. Everyone present thought I was genuinely congratulating her, but to Zhang Yan's ears those words were mockery and sarcasm. As expected, early the next morning, Zhang Yan came to my office again. She looked as if she was on the verge of being crushed by fear, probably having had a sleepless night. Deep dark circles were under her eyes, and she appeared utterly exhausted. Zhang Yan could hardly conceal her terror. She found me and said to me with great fear, "I can't keep this child. Otherwise my life will be ruined. Please, Xiao, we've been friends for so many years. Can you help me one more time?" Perfect, I sneered inwardly. This was an old trick. She just wanted to drag me down as a scapegoat. Last time was the same. She was the one who wanted a divorce, but she told Li Hua that I was the one instigating them to split, which led to Li Hua stabbing me over a dozen times. This time, she doesn't want this child, but she refuses to go to the hospital herself. Instead, she came to me, asking me to take her later. When Li Hua finds out, he'll only come to settle the score with me. I really don't dare do this anymore. At that moment, my face showed great distress. Zhang Yan, this is a life too. I see your husband is quite happy about it. Maybe you should keep it. Everyone says he's been treating you well lately. Zhang Yan directly cut me off. She screamed hysterically, "What do you know? This child just can't be kept." "Oh." I asked her slowly, "Why can't it be kept?" Zhang Yan's words faltered. She couldn't say the real reason. How should I put it? Could she just tell me directly that the child in her belly isn't her husband's, but my husband's? Zhang Yan stammered, "You don't understand. In short, it just can't stay." Xiao, she pleaded with me. "We've known each other for so many years. You absolutely must help me. You're pregnant. How can I help you?" I wasn't buying her act, my face full of difficulty. "By the way, has the matter of the house been settled?" Hearing this, Zhang Yan breathed a sigh of relief. I said I wanted the house to be registered in my name only. Originally, he absolutely refused to agree. She touched her belly, her face full of indignation. "Humph, this kid came at just the right time, didn't he? He caved yesterday." Hearing that, I was secretly shocked. Originally, Zhang Yan wanted to shuffle the property around and fight for it, basically by selling Li Hua's premarital house and buying a new one during their marriage that would complete the house washing operation. But Zhang Yan was greedy and wanted the new house registered under her name alone. What a ruthless woman, but that was exactly what I wanted. 18 I've been friends with Zhang Yan for so many years. Given her selfish and self-serving nature, I've already taken the fall for her plenty of times, so this time, she instinctively came to me again. She wanted me to be the villain, but I'd learned my lesson the hard way, and just kept dodging it, playing coy, saying I was a coward and didn't dare no matter what. I refused to help her, seeing that she wasn't getting any help from me. Zhang Yan was getting anxious, her expression twisted, and she lost all composure as she roared at me. Are you even my friend anymore? Don't you know what kind of life I've been living all these years? If I have this child, how am I supposed to get divorced? Hearing this, I said slowly, Zhang Yan, it's not that I don't want to help you, it's that my own marriage has run into problems lately. You probably don't know yet, but I've already decided to divorce Wang Yu. Hearing this, Zhang Yan looked stunned, but soon she came to her senses. After thinking for a moment, she deliberately said, no way, Wang Yu is a good man, you're still going to divorce him over this? There's nothing we can do, I deliberately said to her, because I can't have children. And Wang Yu wants to be a father so badly. We weren't a good match, so we broke up. Zhang Yan, not everyone is as lucky as you are. That sounded sarcastic and cutting, but Zhang Yan was too overwhelmed by the sudden surprise to think straight. She didn't catch the implication in my words at all. In other words, if the baby in her belly was actually Wang Yu's, and now Wang Yu was going to divorce me, then she wouldn't have to go to the hospital to get the baby aborted at all. She just needed to get rid of the burden that was Li Yihua, secure the assets, and then she could happily fly off into the sunset with Wang Yu, becoming a family of 3. Thinking of this, Zhang Yan couldn't sit still any longer in my office. She couldn't wait to go find Wang Yu. Watching her flustered state, I just smiled slightly. Have you settled on your new house? When will you handle the property transfer procedures? At these words, Zhang Yan said naturally, the sooner the better, definitely. Probably this week. Yes, handling matters is always best done as quickly as possible. It seems this week everything will come to an end. 19. Actually, Zhang Yan did a good thing in a way. Originally, Wang Yu was stubbornly refusing to divorce me because our house, car, and savings are all marital property, and divorce means splitting them equally. Wang Yu was unwilling. He hoped to greedily take more than his share. Ideally, he wanted to push me to the breaking point so I would agree to leave with nothing. However, right after Zhang Yan left my office, she immediately went to find Wang Yu. Wang Yu changed his mind right away. He even took the initiative to call me, speaking in a very gentle tone. Xiao Xiao, I've thought it through. Since we're not compatible, forcing ourselves to stay together would only lead to unhappiness. It's better to part on good terms now. That statement nearly made me laugh in anger. It seems he already knows the child in Zhang Yan's belly is his. Now he can't wait to dump me, so he can embrace his beautiful wife and newborn child, living a blissful life. But how does a betraying, faithless person deserve to live such a good life? I turned on the home camera and watched coldly as the two people on the screen embraced each other affectionately. Zhang Yan was staying by Wang Yu's side at this moment. She nestled against him with a blissful expression. Watching him make a phone call to me, I said, have you made up your mind? Yes, I have. Wang Yu's voice could hardly conceal his excitement as he said, let's get the paperwork done this week. Let's settle it quickly, no delays. Hearing this, I smiled faintly. Yes, even though we had been fighting fiercely before, making a huge scene and reaching an impasse, yet when it came to the end, the process of getting a divorce turned out to be very simple. The division of assets was fair and just, split 50-50. The divorce agreement was one I had drafted long ago. Wang Yu just gave it a cursory glance, then very readily signed it and pressed his fingerprint. And then we scheduled a time to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and exchange our red marriage booklets for green divorce ones. Wang Yu didn't want to spend another moment with me on the day of the divorce. When he arrived, his whole demeanor was beaming, unable to conceal his joy and excitement. It hardly seemed like he was there to get a divorce, and my expression remained calm. I couldn't be bothered to say another word to him. This could barely be considered a decent ending. I immediately took a photo of the divorce certificate and posted it on my social media feed, announcing to the world that I was free. My social media feed exploded instantly. Many people couldn't believe that Wang Yu and I had separated just like that. Amidst all the commotion, as I was scrolling through my feed, I saw Li Yihua's post about his new property deed. He had joyfully acquired a new home. Very good. The moment to close the net is now. 20 Since Zhang Yan became pregnant, although Li Yihua couldn't be said to have turned over a new leaf, he surprisingly began to care for his family. He was also happy in his heart. After all, he was already 30 years old, and becoming a father was a fortunate and good thing. For this reason, he also felt that what Zhang Yan said made a lot of sense, and changing to a school district house was very necessary. But on the very day I finalized my divorce, he received an anonymous email in the afternoon containing a 1 GB compressed file. Li Yihua had no idea what it was. When he extracted the files on his computer, he discovered they were short video clips. Upon opening them, he saw nothing but pale, naked bodies passionately entangled. The video quality was quite good. The faces and voices were all very clear. He recognized this as my home from the decor and furniture, and the protagonist was someone he knew even better. "You're free now." Zhang Yan's face was flushed with embarrassment, her features rippling with a springtime beauty like peach blossoms as she leaned against Wang Yu's chest. She said coquettishly, "I'll be soon too, today. Li Yihua has already transferred the new house, I'll divorce him right away." Wang Yu teased her, saying, "Why not just go all the way? If you want his house, why not have Li Yihua raise my son too?" Zhang Yan hit him lightly. "Would you bear to?" Her eyes were full of allure. "Every time I'm done with him, I take a pill. Only with you do I not take any precautions." These scenes are too appalling to watch, and these conversations are even more outrageous. After watching it all, Li Yihua called me several times. I didn't answer any of them because I drove back home. I timed it perfectly and saw through the camera that Zhang Yan and Wang Yu were celebrating Wang Yu's divorce from me. They even opened a bottle of red wine, so I went straight to her door. 21. When she opened the door, Zhang Yan was startled seeing me show up uninvited. She stammered, her face full of panic. "Xiao Xiao, what are you doing here?" I deliberately tried to scare her. "I forgot something. What are you doing here?" Zhang Yan couldn't answer. I ignored her and walked into the bedroom by myself, starting to pack my things. At the time of the divorce, this apartment was given to Wang Yu, taking advantage of Zhang Yan and Wang Yu hiding in the kitchen to whisper. I acted quickly, dismantled all the cameras, threw them into my bag, and took them away without leaving any trace, and my timing and judgment were not wrong. In less than 10 minutes, the front door was being pounded with earth-shattering force. A man's voice was filled with rage. "Zhang Yan, are you in there? Get the hell out here, you damn bitch." This scared Zhang Yan out of her wits. That voice was her husband, Li Yihua. How did Li Yihua find his way here? 22. Before Zhang Yan and Wang Yu could even react, I had already walked out of the bedroom with my bag on my back. I've finished packing my things. I glanced at them coolly. "Brotherly, what brings you here? Why didn't you open the door for him?" "Don't open the door," Zhang Yan screamed, her voice almost cracking. "Don't open the door for him." At this moment I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Yeah, this was the conversation between Zhang Yan and me in my previous life. I said Li Yihua was up to no good and not to open the door, but Zhang Yan secretly opened the door anyway. And then, Li Yihua came in and killed me. Now, it's my turn to do the same to both of them. I curled the corner of my mouth, looked at Zhang Yan, and returned to her the words she had said to me in her previous life. "Why can't we open the door? What if they have something important to discuss with us?" Zhang Yan's face turned deathly pale. Wang Yu was the quickest to react. He rushed out from the kitchen and tried to grab me, but my movements were faster than they had imagined. It was as if it were the result of a well-planned, carefully strategized, and repeatedly rehearsed action. I reached out and directly opened the main door. 23. Li Yihua's eyes were bloodshot, a knife gripped in his hand. His target was clear. Li Yihua completely ignored me standing at the door. As soon as he entered, he viciously plunged the knife in his hand into Wang Yu's body. "It was you, you bastard, who messed with my wife." Caught off guard, Wang Yu was immediately stabbed and fell to the ground. Immediately after, amidst the woman's screams, Li Yihua was already seeing red with bloodlust. He was on top of Wang Yu, bringing the knife down again and again. Blood splattered, flesh mangled. Zhang Yan tried to run but was cornered in the kitchen just like in her previous life. Her face was deathly pale, filled with terror as she huddled in the corner, collapsed on the floor, screaming and crying helplessly. But this time, the one lying on the ground wasn't me. This time, it was finally my turn. I stood quietly in place, yet I could remain detached from it all. I watched with my own eyes as they reaped what they sowed. 24. All the procedures were pretty much the same as last time. Li Yihua stabbed him and then ran away. Zhang Yan, hiding in the corner, was already scared out of her mind seeing that Wang Yu was beyond saving. I took out my phone and called the police, then dialed 120. This was just a very straightforward case. Wang Yu was having an affair with someone else's wife, and the wronged husband came seeking revenge, stabbing him 13 times inside the home. As for the murderer, Li Yihua, after stabbing him, he fled and went on the run. The only thing I didn't expect was that Wang Yu didn't die on the spot, but was only seriously injured. However, he was left permanently disabled, and for the rest of his life he would have to live with a colostomy bag. As for me, I was merely an innocent bystander because, although Wang Yu was disabled, he and I had divorced this morning. Even if his life was ruined for the rest of his days, I had no obligation to him at all. On the contrary, it was Zhang Yan who would have to take care of Wang Yu next, because Li Yihua ran off without divorcing her. Her current house is marital property acquired during the marriage. If she wants to sell the house for cash, she needs Li Yihua's signature. But Li Yihua is now a fugitive. Even if he were caught and brought back, he still wouldn't sign. Zhang Yan has no money, and she is also carrying Wang Yu's child. The rest of her life is really going to be tied to Wang Yu, spending it caring for a disabled man's every need. However, All of this has nothing to do with me anymore. In the second month after the incident, I submitted my resignation to the law firm and then moved to another city. If nothing unexpected happens for the rest of my life, I will live happily and in good health. As for them, they will be mired in the mud, day after day, suffering a fate worse than death. The end. Story 2. When Lin Jianhui showed up at my engagement party with Jiang Yu, wearing a dress from the same series as mine, I knew this engagement was doomed. As the son of the other man, just like his father snatched my mother from my father, he would snatch Jiang Yu from me, but I couldn't let that happen. I ruined the carefully prepared engagement party and left City A as fast as I could. I was done with this. The moment I saw Lin Jianhui in that dress at the engagement party, I knew the engagement with Jiang Yu couldn't go on. To avoid repeating my father's tragedy, I ripped Lin Jianhui's clothes in front of everyone and smashed the engagement party I'd painstakingly prepared. His father, Lin Qi, was so enraged by me that he passed out, gasping for breath. Zhang Wenfeng called an ambulance on the spot. My girlfriend, Jiang Yu, stood in front of the Lin father-son pair, pointing at me with a pained expression. All her former gentle words had turned into sharp and venomous accusations. They just didn't want to miss every crucial moment of your life. I admit I gave Jianhui the dress, but you two are like brothers. Isn't it normal to wear matching clothes? Over the years, Jianhui and his father have been trying their best to please you, but you've always had a cold face and never given them a kind look. You're making it very difficult for me. Your father committed suicide. His death has nothing to do with them. You reported it to the police, and they didn't even file a case. That says it all. Not everyone in this world has to pamper you like I do. Neither I nor they owe you anything. You'd better reflect on yourself. Taking advantage of the moment when a group of people were escorting Lin Qi to the hospital, I packed my luggage and left the city. It had been exactly 10 hours since I wrecked my engagement party. 10 hours later, I stood in front of my grandmother's house in City B. Didn't you say you were getting engaged to Jiang Yu today? I said I wasn't going. Why did you come back to pick me up, child? My grandmother's weather-beaten face was full of wrinkles. She looked at me in shock, as if I were a refugee. After speaking, her eyes fell on the suitcase in my hand. She belatedly realized that I wasn't here to pick her for the engagement, but rather to seek refuge with her. I've always said that maybe one day, I'll be the one to take care of you in your old age. I grinned, afraid that my grandmother would kick me out. I blocked the door with my suitcase first. Then, while she was stunned, I quickly dragged the suitcase and squeezed into the house. After my father was driven to death by Lin Qi and Lin Jianhui, I proposed to my grandmother that I wouldn't date or get married. For the rest of my life, I would accompany her to live out her days in the village. My grandmother let me stay in the village for 3 months. After making sure that my pain of losing my father had eased a great deal, she took a deep drag on her cigarette and told me to go back. She said that there were only old people and children in the village now. If a young boy like me didn't work or socialize in the village, my life would be ruined. So, she went on a hunger strike to force me to leave, and then threatened to stop taking her medicine to make me accept Jiang Yu, a promising young woman she introduced to me when Jiang Yu first pursued me. I told my grandmother that my heart was dead, and no one could bring me back to life. At that time, my grandmother looked at me, who was just skin and bones, and ignored my words. Instead, she got Jiang Yu's phone number and told her to pay more attention to me every day. She also told Jiang Yu that I had just lost my father and was in a bad mood, and that my lack of enthusiasm didn't mean I didn't like her. I don't know what else my grandmother told Jiang Yu, but somehow, Jiang Yu and I got through 3 years together. All my colleagues thought Jiang Yu and I were a model couple. We never quarreled or had a falling out. We seemed to love each other on the surface, but no one knew that in this relationship, I was ready to leave at any time. So, the moment I saw that Jiang Yu had bought 2 of the same item in her shopping app and sent them to 2 different addresses, I knew it was time to end this farce. Jiang Yu once said that I was like a block of ice. No matter how much she tried to warm me, she could never melt me. I told her that I didn't need to be melted. What I needed was never-ending loyalty and eternal companionship. After witnessing my father and Zhang Wenfeng go from being deeply in love to being at odds with each other, and after seeing Zhang Wenfeng say she loved my father one day and then show up with Lin Qi in my father's chemotherapy ward the next day, flaunting their unrestrained love, I no longer believed in women or so-called love. Women can change their minds in an instant. The heart is such an unpredictable thing. I was glad that I had never completely given away my heart, so that I could remain absolutely rational when I found out the problem. I don't know when Jiang Yu met Lin Jianhui. To me, the name Lin Jianhui was like poison. Just hearing it made me uncomfortable. He, like his father, Lin Chi was a taboo for me during the 3 years. There were moments when I was touched by Jiang Yu, and I confided in her. I told her that in this world, I hated the Lin father-son pair the most. They were the last people I ever wanted to see. I also told Jiang Yu that I wouldn't go near any place where they were. At that time, she stroked my hair lovingly, holding my hand tightly. She told me gently but firmly that she remembered, she would never make me feel uncomfortable in this lifetime. If I didn't like them or didn't want to see them, she wouldn't let anyone bring them in front of me. But in the end, it was she who sent someone to pick up the Lin father-son pair and brought them to our engagement party. And when I confronted the Lin father-son pair, she stood against me, using her body to protect my enemies. I put the suitcase in the room I used to live in. My grandmother is used to changing the bed sheets every half-month. It looked quite clean, so I just threw myself onto the bed. Over the years, I felt insecure everywhere, only in this house, with my grandmother who treats me sincerely and will never betray me, do I feel a bit at ease. Since Jiang Yu likes Lin Jianghui so much, she can get engaged to him. I'm out of this. Are you really going to break up with Jiang Yu? That girl is quite kind. If you miss her, you might not meet someone better. My grandmother noticed that something was different about my return. Her eyes were suddenly filled with worry. She stood beside my bed, hesitant, and finally asked. She is kind, but she distributes her kindness to Lin Jianhui without any difference. Thinking back, Jiang Yu and I had never had a conflict except for today's incident. When we first got together, I was very depressed. I had a cold face during every date and was indifferent to her. I thought it would be better if Jiang Yu got angry and ignored me, so that I wouldn't have to force myself to date her. As long as Jiang Yu gave up on me, even if my grandmother forced me, she couldn't do anything about it. But I didn't expect Jiang Yu to have such a good temper and so much patience. She treated me like a kindergarten boy. No matter how unreasonable my demands were, she would respect them and do as I asked. Before meeting Jiang Yu, I didn't think I had any of the bad boy flaws, but compared to her, I sometimes felt that I was too much. Under her constant tolerance, one day, I finally couldn't bear it and reached out to her for the first time. From then on, until 3 days ago, I thought she might really be my salvation. Yes, that's right, 3 days ago, I saw her orders on her phone. Since we were preparing for the engagement, we had been living in our wedding house for the past week, so that we could discuss the details and procedures of the engagement party more conveniently. We each had a room. Seeing her phone was purely by coincidence. At first, I thought the orders were for me, since I really didn't like bright red and didn't want to please her and the guests. I wanted to privately discuss with the store to change the color of the dress. Unexpectedly, when I opened my orders, I found that for every gift she gave me in the past 6 months, she had bought 2. One was sent to my former home, and the other was sent to the house I rented. One was in my name, and the other recipient's name was Lin Jianghui. I still remember that when I saw the name Lin Jianghui, I thought it was just a coincidence of the same name, but after carefully checking the phone number, I confirmed that she was really in contact with Lin Jianghui. Behind my back. With a mix of disbelief, shock, and surprise, I opened her WeChat for the first time. I found that a year after Jiang Yu and I got together, Lin Jianghui added Jiang Yu's WeChat on the pretext of wanting to repair the relationship with me. At first, the two of them maintained a polite distance, but as Jiang Yu gradually revealed her family background in her moments, and as she posted a lot of videos and photos of spoiling me and showing our love, Lin Jianghui's tone became more and more ambiguous. On my birthday last year, Lin Jianghui said he wanted to give me a gift. After Jiang Yu sent me home, she went out to meet him in the middle of the night. As for the gift she mentioned, a year has passed, and I still haven't seen or received it. From the chat records, it seemed that something happened between Lin Jianghui and Jiang Yu that night. For the whole year after that, for 365 days, Jiang Yu fulfilled her duties as my girlfriend while also taking time to accompany Lin Jianghui from time to time. Even on Lin Qi's birthday, she would attend their family gathering as a daughter-in-law. In the photos Lin Jianghui sent to Jiang Yu, Zhang Wenfeng and Lin Qi were both wearing traditional Chinese clothes. Jiang Yu stood behind Lin Qi, and Lin Jianghui stood behind Zhang Wenfeng. In front of them was a 3-layer birthday cake. They all looked at the camera, and the corners of everyone's mouths were filled with happiness and smiles. What a harmonious family of 4. I remember that when Lin Qi turned 50, he called me, but I hung up as soon as I heard his voice. Jiang Yu also asked me vaguely if I had anything to do this weekend and if I wanted to go home to see Zhang Wenfeng. I refused without hesitation. At that time, I thought she was just asking casually. I never expected that she would go to Lin Qi's birthday party even though I didn't. Today, at the engagement party, Jiang Yu secretly invited Lin Qi and Lin Jianghuai. She probably wanted to reveal the truth and force me to accept their family of 4. She didn't expect that after we started dating, I, who had always given her face, would tear Lin Jianghuai's clothes in public. She even less expected that I would go crazy and even hit Lin Qi and Zhang Wenfeng. Thinking of the scene where Zhang Wenfeng was splashed with wine by me and Lin Qi was crying out in pain, with his little toe broken by me, I regretted not doing an even better job. Jiang Yu is the daughter of my comrade in arms. Logically, her family has strict morals, and she shouldn't have done such a despicable thing. The world is becoming more and more incomprehensible to me. Child, do what you want. Grandma won't interfere anymore. But remember one thing, our family can't suffer losses anymore. You have to avenge the grievances your father suffered from your mother's side, and double it for yourself. Although my grandmother found it hard to believe that Jiang Yu had cheated, she believed that I wouldn't lie to her about such a thing. She let out a long sigh and poured me a cup of my favorite flower tea. Looking at the steaming water, I couldn't help but think of the way Jiang Yu looked at me at the engagement party, angry, disbelieving, shocked, and ashamed. She had been so tolerant and kind to me before, but today, she was so harsh and strict. Lin Qi and Lin Jianghuai were the ones who killed my father. She had never experienced my pain, yet she asked me to let go of my hatred with a smile. I couldn't do it, and I would never be able to, if it were her. And her step-father had forced her biological father to death. Could she be so generous as to become a family with them? Certainly not. Human nature is always selfish. No matter how well Jiang Yu had pretended in the past 3 years, she finally revealed her true colors. I was glad that she exposed herself at the right time. I was even more glad that in these 3 years, I hadn't completely given myself away. Whether it was my body or my heart, I had always belonged to myself. Don't worry, your grandson is stronger than your son. I'm full of tricks, all of them lively, unlike your son, who not only had no tricks but was also stubborn. What's in this suitcase isn't just clothes. Thinking of what was in the suitcase, I glanced at my phone. I was waiting for Jiang Yu's call, but what I never expected was that the first person to call me wasn't Jiang Yu, but Lin Jianghuai. Brother, why do you have to do this? Sister-in-law brought me and Dad to your engagement party just to ease the relationship in our family. We came to integrate into this big family. Why do you always reject me and Dad? When I tore his clothes today, Lin Jianghuai looked poor. His eyes were filled with tears, and he was extremely wronged. He stubbornly held back until Jiang Yu took off the windbreaker I designed for her and covered him with it. Then his tears started falling continuously. You've been acting for so many years, aren't you tired of it? If you like acting so much, why don't you major in acting and study it intensively? In the past 3 years, I haven't completely cut off contact with them, since my father jumped off the building in a moment of despair. Driven by Lin Qi and Zhang Wenfeng in the hospital, I deleted and blocked all their contact information, but Lin Jianghuai could always find ways to get in touch with me. At first, he would send some sarcastic messages trying to get me to come back home. After being scolded by me many times, he stopped pretending. Whenever Zhang Wenfeng gave luxury goods to their father-son pair, he would show off to me first, the latest luxury car of the season, the most beautiful watch in the advertisement. Everything that used to belong to me alone had now fallen into the hands of the Lin father-son pair. Knowing that Zhang Wenfeng and Lin Qi had cut off my financial support, to anger me, Lin Jianghuai often made the effort to drive an extra hour to the store where I worked part-time and specifically asked for me to serve him. After almost getting his face disfigured by me with a knife, he dared not come to see me and confront me directly, so he only showed off on the internet, constantly provoking me. I always ignored his harmless provocations, counting carefully. It had been 2 years since the last time I answered his call. Brother, I know you blame me and Dad for your father's death, but you have to understand that even if we hadn't appeared by Mom's side, your father would still have died. These years, we've been discussing that maybe your father's choice to commit suicide by jumping off the building wasn't to blame us. Instead, he was using this way to fulfill himself and all of us. Your father was spoiled since he was a child. After marrying Mom, he always enjoyed a comfortable life at home and never earned a single penny. The greatest pain he suffered in his life was the pain brought by cancer chemotherapy. Lin Jianghuai's shameless words rang in my ears again. If he were standing in front of me, if it weren't for the need to take care of my grandmother in her old age, I would have killed him with a knife. I gritted my teeth tightly, trying to suppress my impulse with my rationality. So, my father should thank you father-son pair for snatching Zhang Wenfeng away. I told myself that it's never too late for a gentleman to Take revenge, good and evil will eventually be rewarded, it's just that the time hasn't come yet. Thinking of my future plans, I took a deep breath and let out the anger pent up in my chest. There's no need to thank us. As long as you're willing to accept us, we'll be satisfied. Brother, sister-in-law said that as long as you come back and apologize to me, Dad, and Mom, this matter will be over. She will hold your wedding as scheduled, then, our family of 5 can be reunited in life. Together in love, how wonderful. When Lin Jianhui mentioned the word apologize, his voice carried a hint of viciousness. Give the phone to Jiangyu. I tightened my grip on the phone, not wanting to say another word to Lin Jianhui. Sister-in-law is taking a bath. Coincidentally, she didn't bring a bath towel, so I'm going to give it to her. Sister-in-law, brother is looking for you. Lin Jianhui didn't know that I already knew about their relationship. He deliberately walked around to show off and then pushed open the bathroom door where Jiangyu was taking a bath. The bathroom door of the wedding house wasn't installed properly, and it made a strange noise when pushed. I had already arranged for someone to come and replace it, so, even without seeing what was happening over there, just by hearing the sound, I knew that Jiangyu had brought Lin Jianhui to the wedding house that was supposed to be ours. Jianhui, why did you bring it like this? What if, Jiang? Yu was a bit annoyed. Even if she was slow-witted, she knew that Lin Jianghui's move was to declare his sovereignty over me. I'm sorry, I didn't think so much. I just wanted to persuade brother to come back and apologize to you as you told me. I forgot that brother doesn't know about our relationship yet. Lin Jianhui was scolded by Jiangyu. He immediately looked wronged, and his voice was so pitiful that it seemed like it could drip water. Any man could tell he was being insincere, but women seemed to have no resistance to such men. Thinking that just listening wasn't enough, I clicked on the indoor surveillance I installed 2 days ago. On the surveillance video, Lin Jianhui was wearing the pajamas I prepared for our wedding night. He was weakly holding the corner of the pajamas, his watery eyes timidly glancing at Jiangyu. Then, one by one, his tears dropped onto the floor. Jiangyu, who had originally wanted to get angry, finally stopped being angry when she saw Lin Jianhui like this. Instead, she hid in his arms, hooked her arms around his neck, and let him pick her up horizontally. Lin Jianhui put Jiangyu on the wedding bed that was supposed to be ours. Yishuan, I hope you understand one thing. Before getting married, I can treat you like a naive little boy, spoil you, dote on you, and love you unconditionally, but after getting married, you must grow up. I need a husband who can stand by my side. I hope that before forming a family with me, you first handle your own family issues well. This is the first crisis you have to face as the son-in-law of the Jiang family. Jiangyu's hands didn't stop moving, but her tone was full of solemnity and preaching. If I hadn't seen the video, I wouldn't have known that Jiangyu had such a side. She was wantonly flirting with Lin Jianhui while earnestly lecturing me. Is the title of the Jiang family's son-in-law made of gold or jade? Is it that precious? You like Lin Jianhui, don't you, then give this position to him. I don't care about it. Jiangyu, listen, I, Zhang Yishuan, want to break up with you. I've always believed that the man should be the first to say the words of breaking up, so, the moment I said this, Jiangyu and I had nothing to do with each other anymore. Zhang Yishuan, you'd better be joking. Do you think you can break up without notifying your grandmother? It was she who brought us together. Have you considered her feelings when you suddenly make this decision? Jiangyu always thought that my grandmother really liked her and wanted to match us up. She never knew that in my grandmother's heart, the best person in the world was her grandson. My grandmother has already agreed, so don't worry about it. After recording and saving the video, I found the scream too offensive to watch. I exited the surveillance, hung up the call, and then blurred the video I just recorded and posted it on all the social networks I could. I'm a somewhat popular online influencer now. My fans have witnessed the entire process of the decoration, design, and soft decoration of the wedding house, so, even though I blurred Jiangyu and Lin Jianhui's faces, they still recognized Jiangyu in the video at first glance, and the boy in the video had a different body shape from mine. My fans identified that it wasn't me through Lin Jianhui's watch, coat, and short legs. This was going to be interesting. My girlfriend was flirting with another short-statured boy on our wedding bed. Words like cheating, two-timing, morally corrupt, and slag woman instantly flooded my comment section. Coincidentally, Jiangyu's mother had been following me and was even my #1 fan. After seeing the video and comments, she contacted me immediately. Yishuan, Yaya didn't do it on purpose. You were really too much today, so she deliberately brought Jianghui back to your wedding house to anger you. A woman needs to be coaxed. You should coax her more. Lower your head and admit your mistake. In the future, she'll do whatever you Tell her to do. Jiang Yu's mother used to love preaching. She often sent me short videos about the 3 obediences and 4 virtues for me to watch. I always ignored them. Auntie, Jiang Yu and I have broken up. Please don't contact me anymore. I typed these words one by one and then blocked her before she could say anything. In the past, I endured her preaching and influence for Jiang Yu's sake. Now, I couldn't stand it for even a moment. Besides, I posted the video not waiting for her. I was waiting for Lin Chi as I expected. At noon the next day after I posted the video, Lin Chi called me on his own initiative. Zhang Yixuan, what on earth do you want? Lin Chi was much more sophisticated than Lin Jianghuai. I had been trying for 3 years to draw him into my plan, but he remained unmoved. This time, if it weren't for Lin Jianghuai offering himself up, I didn't know how much longer I would have to wait for this call. What do I want? Your son volunteered to be the other man and be played with. I had the right to make him lose his reputation and be condemned by thousands of people. I always knew that Lin Chi was also secretly paying attention to me, especially when I was having a harder time. The happier he seemed in his moments. So, I believed that after I posted the video, if Jiang Yu's mother could recognize Jiang Yu, Lin Chi would definitely be able to recognize Lin Jianghuai. Delete the video. I'll send your brother abroad and return the living expenses. That should have belonged to you. Even if you marry Jiang Yu, I'll ask your father to prepare a gift for you so that you won't lose face in the Jiang family. Lin Chi offered what he thought I needed and desperately wanted. He was full of confidence. After all, since my father died, Lin Chi had taken control of my family's financial power. Because of him, I couldn't go abroad as planned and couldn't study the major I most wanted to learn. Now, he was offering to return everything. Logically, I should have been overjoyed. You can prepare the gift for your dear son Lin Jianghuai. I don't need it, I refused indifferently. It had to be said that it's better to make others subject to me than to be subject to others. The feeling of being in control of everything was so refreshing. What do you mean? Lin Chi designed the role of a young master for Lin Jianghuai. He was usually very strict with him, checking clearly about what time he came home and what kind of friends he made, but he had forgotten about Jiang Yu. Don't you want to know who the woman with Lin Jianghuai is? It's Jiang Yu. You tried so hard to snatch my mother from my father. Now Lin Jianghuai is following your example, trying to snatch Jiang Yu from me. I'm different from my father. My father couldn't let go and was so desperate. I can let go, since he likes Jiang Yu. ILL him. Thinking of the other things in the suitcase, I opened them one by one, then took photos and videos and sent them all to the school where Lin Jianghuai studied. Of course, before sending them to Lin Jianghuai's school, I sent them to Lin Chi first. To catch a snake, you have to hit it at the vital point. Although the Lin father-son pair were both scoundrels, I had to admit that no matter how bad Lin Chi was, he deeply loved Lin Jianghuai. So, to get revenge on Lin Chi, I would destroy Lin Jianghuai step by step. Wasn't Lin Chi most proud of Lin Jianghuai being a prospective graduate of H University? Then I would make sure Lin Jianghuai couldn't graduate. Didn't Lin Chi want to marry Lin Jianghuai into a more powerful and noble family than the Zhang family? Then I would completely block Lin Jianghuai's way of climbing up through marriage. Didn't Lin Chi love Lin Jianghuai so much that he tried every means to cultivate him after marrying Zhang Wenfang? Then I would make sure he couldn't get a foothold in this industry. There was a whole suitcase of evidence of exam cheating and taking exams for others, and a whole dozen of explicit nude photos. If I hadn't gone to the wedding house to get something, I wouldn't have found this pile of secrets hidden under Jiang Yu's bed by Lin Jianghuai. Zhang Yixuan, I know you hate me, but if you want to take revenge on me, come at me directly like you did yesterday. I, Lin Chi, will admit defeat if I even blink. But Jianghuai is innocent. He's still young. You're his brother. You can't harm him like this. After seeing the evidence I sent, Lin Chi was completely panicked. His voice also rose a lot. He no longer pretended to be gentle as he used to. He wished he could come through the phone and tear me to pieces. Don't worry, I won't leave you out. You may really not know your son. Lin Jianghuai has never been innocent. I had no interest in uncovering my bloody scars in front of Lin Chi. What Lin Jianghuai did to me back then was no less than what Lin Chi did to my father. This father-son pair should bear the consequences of their actions. I also believed that God is fair, but I believed even more that true fairness is created by oneself. After that, as I expected, the news of Lin Jianghuai's exam cheating spread like wildfire. It not only caused a huge stir in his school but also set off a wave across the country. He was expelled from school and rejected by the Jiang family, no matter how much effort Lin Chi made. The whole circle knew about Lin Jianghuai's absurdity and audacity. The father seduced his brother's wife, and the son seduced his sister-in-law. These two really followed in each other's footsteps, and their family's fine tradition was passed down. What surprised me the most was that Zhang Wenfeng suddenly divorced Lin Qi after the news of Lin Jianhui spread. I always thought that Zhang Wenfeng really loved Lin Qi so much that she could abandon her original husband who had accompanied her for decades. No matter how much evidence I sent her about how much money Lin Qi had embezzled and how much of their joint property he had transferred in the 3 years since they got married. She seemed to be wearing rose-colored glasses. Even Zhang Wenfeng might not believe the evidence I sent her and instead accuse me of slander. I had already prepared a second plan for her disbelief, but she actually believed it. When I first got the news, I was a bit dazed. If Zhang Wenfeng had been this clear-headed from the beginning, maybe my father wouldn't have died. Zhang Yishuan, are you satisfied now? The next time I saw Lin Qi and Lin Jianhui, the father-son pair were waiting at the airport. I never expected that enemies' paths could be so narrow. We happened to face each other directly. Not really, I replied calmly, looking at Lin Jianhui, who was glaring at me. My father lost his life because of this father-son pair. All they did was return to their starting point, and they even had a large amount of property compared to before. When you think about it, they still got the better end of the deal. What should I be satisfied about? You kicked us out, but you think your mother will take you back. You're so naive, you don't know yet, do you? Your mother is in love again. This time, the man she's with is only in his 30s. Lin Qi was extremely unwilling. He had thought that marrying my father would end his wandering life, but he never expected to be kicked out in the end. Zhang Wenfeng ceased to be my mother the day my father died. If she wants to get married, let her. After all, she didn't have much time left after separating from the Lin father-son pair. I received a call from Jiangyu. Yishuan, I'm calling you just to tell you, Lin Jianhui took the initiative in everything between us. At least, when I decided to date you, I never thought of betraying you. Jiangyu had been having bad luck recently. Since the incident between her and Lin Jianhui was exposed, she was grounded by the Jiang family and had her credit cards cut off. The once carefree, smiling young woman suddenly seemed several years older. My grandmother was right about one thing. The Jiang family has strict family values. Even though Jiangyu is their biological daughter, with such a disgraceful scandal, they couldn't bear the humiliation, so they naturally treated her coldly. It takes two to tango. That was the only thing I said to Jiangyu. I didn't have anything more to say. Jiangyu seemed to want to say something and didn't want to hang up, but I hung up first. I like the feeling of turning around first, after witnessing my father's hand slipping out of mine. I've hated the feeling of being abandoned. 6 months later, when I was traveling with my grandmother, I received a call from the housekeeper. Zhang Wenfeng was dying. Perhaps having learned from Lin Qi's experience and lessons, she hadn't remarried in the past 6 months. I had someone prepare her body, and when the ashes were ready, I took my grandmother back to the Zhang family. As her only legal and blood-related descendant, I rightfully inherited everything of hers. When Lin Qi heard that Zhang Wenfeng had suddenly died 6 months after the divorce, although he didn't know the truth, he belatedly realized that the timing was rather strange. He called me and started cursing. I'd been playing with eagles all my life, but I never thought I'd be pecked by a sparrow in the end. Zhang Yishuan, you're really something. I don't understand what you're talking about, whether it's something or nothing. Don't come looking for me again. When my father was diagnosed with late-stage cancer, he told me that Zhang Wenfeng also had health problems. Before, in order to let Zhang Wenfeng live longer, he didn't tell her about her illness and asked the doctor to keep it a secret. He never expected that Zhang Wenfeng would get together with Lin Qi so quickly after he got sick, so that later, he didn't have the time or energy to tell her the truth about her health. That's why I said that everything is destined, good and evil will be rewarded. It's just that the time hasn't come yet. Lin Jianghui's shameless words rang in my ears again. If he were standing in front of me, if it weren't for the need to take care of my grandmother in her old age, I would have killed him with a knife. I gritted my teeth tightly, trying to suppress my impulse with my rationality. So, my father should thank you father-son pair for snatching Zhang Wenfeng away. I told myself that it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Good and evil will eventually be rewarded. It's just that the time hasn't come yet. Thinking of my future plans, I took a deep breath and let out the anger pent up in my chest. There's no need to thank us. As long as you're willing to accept us, we'll be satisfied. Brother, sister-in-law said that as long as you come back and apologize to me, Dad, and Mom, this matter will be over. She will hold your wedding as scheduled. Then, our family of 5 can be reunited and live together in love. How wonderful. When Lin Jiang Hui mentioned the word apologize. His voice carried a hint of viciousness. Give the phone to Jiang Yu. I tightened my grip on the phone, not wanting to say another word to Lin Jianghui. Sister-in-law is taking a bath. Coincidentally, she didn't bring a bath towel, so I'm going to give it to her. Sister-in-law, brother is looking for you. Lin Jianghui didn't know that I already knew about their relationship. He deliberately walked around to show off and then pushed open the bathroom door where Jiang Yu was taking a bath. The bathroom door of the wedding house wasn't installed properly, and it made a strange noise when pushed. I had already arranged for someone to come and replace it, so, even without seeing what was happening over there, just by hearing the sound, I knew that Jiang Yu had brought Lin Jianghui to the wedding house that was supposed to be ours. Jianghui, why did you bring it like this? What if? Jiang Yu was a bit annoyed, even if she was slow-witted. She knew that Lin Jianghui's move was to declare his sovereignty over me. I'm sorry, I didn't think so much. I just wanted to persuade brother to come back and apologize to you as you told me. I forgot that brother doesn't know about our relationship yet. Lin Jianghui was scolded by Jiang Yu. He immediately looked wronged, and his voice was so pitiful that it seemed like it could drip water. Any man could tell he was being insincere, but women seemed to have no resistance to such men. Thinking that just listening wasn't enough, I clicked on the indoor surveillance I installed 2 days ago. On the surveillance video, Lin Jianghui was wearing the pajamas I prepared for our wedding night. He was weakly holding the corner of the pajamas, his watery eyes timidly glancing at Jiang Yu. Then, one by one, his tears dropped onto the floor. Jiang Yu, who had originally wanted to get angry, finally stopped being angry when she saw Lin Jianghui like this. Instead, she hid in his arms, hooked her arms around his neck, and let him pick her up horizontally. Lin Jianghui put Jiang Yu on the wedding bed that was supposed to be ours. Yishuan, I hope you understand one thing. Before getting married, I can treat you like a naive little boy, spoil you, dote on you, and love you unconditionally, but after getting married, you must grow up. I need a husband who can stand by my side. I hope that before forming a family with me, you first handle your own family issues well. This is the first crisis you have to face as the son-in-law of the Jiang family. Jiang Yu's hands didn't stop moving, but her tone was full of solemnity and preaching. If I hadn't seen the video, I wouldn't have known that Jiang Yu had such a side. She was wantonly flirting with Lin Jianghui while earnestly lecturing me. Is the title of the Jiang family's son-in-law made of gold or jade? Is it that precious? You like Lin Jianghui, don't you? Then give this position to him. I don't care about it. Jiang Yu, listen, I, Zhang Yishuan, want to break up with you. I've always believed that the man should be the first to say the words of breaking up, so, the moment I said this, Jiang Yu and I had nothing to do with each other anymore. Zhang Yishuan, you'd better be joking. Do you think you can break up without notifying your grandmother? It was she who brought us together. Have you considered her feelings when you suddenly make this decision? Jiang Yu always thought that my grandmother really liked her and wanted to match us up. She never knew that in my grandmother's heart, the best person in the world was her grandson. My grandmother has already agreed, so don't worry about it. After recording and saving the video, I found the picture too offensive to watch. I exited the surveillance, hung up the call, and then blurred the video I just recorded and posted it on all the social networks I could. I'm a somewhat popular online influencer now. My fans have witnessed the entire process of the decoration, design, and soft decoration of the wedding house, so, even though I blurred Jiang Yu and Lin Jianghui's faces, they still recognized Jiang Yu in the video at first glance, and the boy in the video had a different body shape from mine. My fans identified that it wasn't me through Lin Jianghui's watch, coat, and short legs. This was going to be interesting. My girlfriend was flirting with another short-statured boy on our wedding bed. Words like cheating, two-timing, morally corrupt, and slag woman instantly flooded my comment section. Coincidentally, Jiang Yu's mother had been following me and was even my #1 fan. After seeing the video and comments, she contacted me immediately. Yishuan, Yaya didn't do it on purpose. You were really too much today. So she deliberately brought Jianghui back to your wedding house to anger you. A woman needs to be coaxed. You should coax her more. Lower your head and admit your mistake. In the future, she'll do whatever you tell her to do. Jiang Yu's mother used to love preaching. She often sent me short videos about the 3 obediences and 4 virtues for me to watch. I always ignored them. Auntie, Jiang Yu and I have broken up. Please don't contact me anymore. I typed these words one by one and then blocked her before she could say anything. In the past, I endured her preaching and influence for Jiang Yu's sake. Now, I couldn't stand it for even a moment. Besides, I posted the video not waiting for her. I Was waiting for Lin Chi as I expected. At noon the next day after I posted the video, Lin Chi called me on his own initiative. Zhang Yixuan, what on earth do you want? Lin Chi was much more sophisticated than Lin Jianghuai. I had been trying for 3 years to draw him into my plan, but he remained unmoved. This time, if it weren't for Lin Jianghuai offering himself up, I didn't know how much longer I would have to wait for this call. What do I want? Your son volunteered to be the other man and be played with. I had the right to make him lose his reputation and be condemned by thousands of people. I always knew that Lin Chi was also secretly paying attention to me, especially when I was having a harder time. The happier he seemed in his moments. So, I believed that after I posted the video, if Jiang Yu's mother could recognize Jiang Yu, Lin Chi would definitely be able to recognize Lin Jianghuai. Delete the video, I'll send your brother abroad and return the living expenses. That should have belonged to you. Even if you marry Jiang Yu, I'll ask your father to prepare a gift for you so that you won't lose face in the Jiang family. Lin Chi offered what he thought I needed and desperately wanted. He was full of confidence. After all, since my father died, Lin Chi had taken control of my family's financial power. Because of him, I couldn't go abroad as planned and couldn't study the major I most wanted to learn. Now, he was offering to return everything. Logically, I should have been overjoyed. You can prepare the gift for your dear son Lin Jianghuai. I don't need it, I refused indifferently. It had to be said that it's better to make others subject to me than to be subject to others. The feeling of being in control of everything was so refreshing. What do you mean? Lin Chi designed the role of a young master for Lin Jianghuai. He was usually very strict with him, checking clearly about what time he came home and what kind of friends he made, but he had forgotten about Jiang Yu. Don't you want to know who the woman with Lin Jianghuai is? It's Jiang Yu. You tried so hard to snatch my mother from my father. Now Lin Jianghuai is following your example, trying to snatch Jiang Yu from me. I'm different from my father. My father couldn't let go and was so desperate. I can let go. Since he likes Jiang Yu, I'll fulfill him. Thinking of the other things in the suitcase, I opened them one by one, then took photos and videos and sent them all to the school where Lin Jianghuai studied. Of course, before sending them to Lin Jianghuai's school, I sent them to Lin Chi first. To catch a snake, you have to hit it at the vital point. Although the Lin father-son pair were both scoundrels, I had to admit that no matter how bad Lin Chi was, he deeply loved Lin Jianghuai. So, to get revenge on Lin Chi, I would destroy Lin Jianghuai step by step. Wasn't Lin Chi most proud of Lin Jianghuai being a prospective graduate of H University? Then I would make sure Lin Jianghuai couldn't graduate. Didn't Lin Chi want to marry Lin Jianghuai into a more powerful and noble family than the Zhang family? Then I would completely block Lin Jianghuai's way of climbing up through marriage. Didn't Lin Chi love Lin Jianghuai so much that he tried every means to cultivate him after marrying Zhang Wenfeng? Then I would make sure he couldn't get a foothold in this industry. There was a whole suitcase of evidence of exam cheating and taking exams for others, and a whole dozen of explicit nude photos. If I hadn't gone to the wedding house to get something, I wouldn't have found this pile of secrets hidden under Jiang Yu's bed by Lin Jianghuai. Zhang Yixuan, I know you hate me, but if you want to take revenge on me, come at me directly like you did yesterday. I, Lin Chi, will admit defeat if I even blink. But Jianghuai is innocent, he's still young, you're his brother, you can't harm him like this. After seeing the evidence I sent, Lin Chi was completely panicked. His voice also rose a lot. He no longer pretended to be gentle as he used to. He wished he could come through the phone and tear me to pieces. Don't worry, I won't leave you out. You may really not know your son. Lin Jianghuai has never been innocent. I had no interest in uncovering my bloody scars in front of Lin Chi. What Lin Jianghuai did to me back then was no less than what Lin Chi did to my father. This father-son pair should bear the consequences of their actions. I also believed that God is fair, but I believed even more that true fairness is created by oneself. After that, as I expected, the news of Lin Jianghuai's exam cheating spread like wildfire. It not only caused a huge stir in his school but also set off a wave across the country. He was expelled from school and rejected by the Jiang family. No matter how much effort Lin Chi made, the whole circle knew about Lin Jianghuai's absurdity and audacity. The father seduced his brother's wife, and the son seduced his sister-in-law. These two really followed in each other's footsteps, and their family's fine tradition was passed down. What I least expected was that Zhang Wenfeng suddenly divorced Lin Chi after the news about Lin Jianghuai broke out. I had always thought that Zhang Wenfeng could abandon her original husband who had accompanied her for decades because she was truly in love with Lin Chi. No matter how much evidence I sent her about how much money Lin Chi had embezzled from her and how much of their joint property He had transferred in the 3 years since they got married. She seemed to be blind to his faults. She might not even believe the evidence I sent her and instead accuse me of slander. I had already prepared a second plan in case she didn't believe me, but unexpectedly, she believed it. When I first got the news, I was a bit dazed. If Zhang Wenfeng had been this clear-headed from the start, perhaps my father wouldn't have died. Zhang Yishuan, are you satisfied now? The next time I saw Lin Qi and Lin Jianghui, the father-son pair were waiting at the airport. I never expected that the paths of enemies could be so narrow. We happened to face each other directly. Not really, I replied calmly, sizing up Lin Jianghui, who was glaring at me. My father lost his life because of this father-son pair. All they did was return to their starting point, and they even had a large amount of property compared to before. When you think about it, they still got the better end of the deal. What should I be satisfied about? You kicked us out, but you think your mother will take you back. You're so naive, you don't know yet, do you? Your mother is in love again. This time, the man she's with is only in his 30s. Lin Qi was extremely resentful. He had thought that marrying my father would end his life of drifting, but he never expected to be kicked out in the end. Zhang Wenfeng ceased to be my mother the day my father died. If she wants to get married, let her. After all, she didn't have much time left. After separating from the Lin father-son pair, I received a call from Jiang Yu. Yishuan, I'm calling you just to tell you, Lin Jianghui took the initiative in everything between us. At least, when I decided to date you, I never thought of betraying you. Jiang Yu had been having a rough time lately, since the affair between her and Lin Jianghui was exposed. She had been grounded by the Jiang family and had her credit cards cut off. The once carefree and smiling young woman suddenly seemed several years older. My grandmother was right about one thing. The Jiang family has strict family values. Even though Jiang Yu is their biological daughter, with such a shameful incident and scandal, they couldn't bear the humiliation, so they naturally treated her coldly. It takes two to tango. That was the only thing I said to Jiang Yu. I didn't have anything more to say. Jiang Yu seemed to want to say something and didn't want to hang up, but I hung up first. I like the feeling of turning around first. After witnessing my father's hand slipping out of mine, I've hated the feeling of being abandoned. 6 months later, when I was traveling with my grandmother, I received a call from the housekeeper. Zhang Wenfeng was on her deathbed. Perhaps having learned from Lin Qi's experience and lessons, she hadn't remarried in the past 6 months. I had someone handle her body, and when the ashes were ready, I took my grandmother back to the Zhang family, as her only legal and blood-related descendant. I rightfully inherited everything of hers. When Lin Qi heard that Zhang Wenfeng had suddenly died 6 months after the divorce, although he didn't know the truth, he belatedly realized that the timing was rather suspicious. He called me and started cursing at me. His father, Lin Qi, was so enraged by me that he passed out, gasping for breath. Zhang Wenfeng called an ambulance on the spot. So, I've been playing with eagles all my life, but I never thought I'd be pecked by a sparrow in the end. Zhang Yishuan, you're really something. I don't understand what you're talking about. Whether it's something or nothing, don't come looking for me again. When my father was diagnosed with late-stage cancer, he told me that Zhang Wenfeng also had health problems. Before, in order to let Zhang Wenfeng live longer, he didn't tell her about her illness and asked the doctor to keep it a secret. He never expected that Zhang Wenfeng would get together with Lin Qi so quickly after he got sick, so that later, he didn't have the time or energy to tell her the truth about her health. That's why I said that everything is destined. Good and evil will be rewarded. It's just that the time hasn't come yet.